Hey traders, Nick here looking at Hyliion. I did a video a couple weeks ago on it, and the message of it was you can't lose the low. You can't make a new low because if you do, you trigger a head and shoulders, whatever pattern that would bring a tremendous downside. So this has not changed, but now we have a couple of lines on the upside as well that are sharp, positive developments if the bulls can take them out. So what is today? Today's 9:10. The stock market is crashing down 0.0%. Sentiment on Wall Street soured. So let's look at the macro first. Sentiment on Wall Street soured, even though the small caps, the Nasdaq are barely red for the week and a hair below all-time high. So I'm not sure why the bears aren't scared that they could trigger another leg higher. Same with the S&P. So we are not even off 1% from the all-time high, and people are acting like we've had a correction already. So sentiment is not lined up with the actual price action. So this is where the opposite thing is going on in Hyliion. First of all, that sentiment, negative overall sentiment, puts downside pressure on Hyliion through no fault of its own. But as the company, the fans of the stock, trust me, I know from the comments, are super strong. So if it was up to them, they wouldn't be one red tick. However, Wall Street, the way it's treating the stock is hideous. If you look back, it's just a series of lower highs and lower lows. Recently, for a few months, that's the good news. The first step in bottoming a stock, it's a process, by the way. It shouldn't be a V bottom ever, is to actually establish a floor. And in this case, they've established a floor for months. Great news. So now it is absolutely imperative to not lose it. Like GTFO, if you lose it, get the fudge out. So the assumption is they shouldn't lose it because they haven't for months and months and months. But imagine this. Imagine the stock market corrects 10%. I bet you this one would lose it. But that's not my assumption. I'm positive. In fact, I am bullish the SPX going into next week. Okay, so that should bode well for HYLN. All right, so step one, they did that. So now what would make Wall Street happier about Hyliion stock short term? Okay, so let's talk about the upside potential because you know the downside potential. It's been a chasm so far. So mini step one is not to lose 8.5 because that is this week's or at least 10 days worth of bottoms right here. So we have a longer bottom that lasted months. We have a shorter bottom that is at 8.5. Use that to do what? To tackle this box right here. Hopefully I have a box there. I don't think I do. Okay, so let's put a new box for short-term trading. So this is the box in which they're trading right now. Hold the bottom and blow out of the top. That's basically it. First line, 9.3, 9.5 would make it official. And then the next line to deal with is 10.2. These fails. So that's how you beat Wall Street, one tick at a time. Step one, hold your mini box bottom. Step two, break out from on top and get to the next line of fire. So this is demarcation zone 1, this is 2. This one is going to be a biggie, 10.7. First of all, it is a visual problem from here and here, but it's also mathematically a busy place where the value area ends. So it's going to be hard to snap out of it, but if they do, they can get to 12. So don't say, hey, Nick said we're going to 12, let's load up. That's not what I'm saying. I've been saying for months in this stock, what don't I do? If you've watched any of my videos before, I bet you I mentioned it at least one time in every video. This is a stock where I don't average down. And this is the part that upsets people. What do you mean? Because it's speculative. What do you mean you're insulting? I'm not insulting the company, I promise. A speculative stock is one that doesn't have current fundamentals. Most of the stock price is based on future prospects. Like if you believe the stock's going to be X in the future, then you buy it now, even though there's no fact supporting it right now, no math supporting it right now. Like Apple, you can put a value to the company now and actual value from its own income statement. You can't do that with a company that's still establishing itself. So by definition, it's speculative. It's not an insult. That's where I say this is a speculative trade. Therefore, I set an amount of risk and I don't add to it. So if I say I'm going to risk $1,000, I don't add another 1,000, especially when it's been a problem. All I'm doing is just making my problem bigger. Why don't I learn something new before I add to my problem? And nothing is new. The price action is still the same. Lower highs, lower lows, except in this case, now we have a stabilizing low. So personally, I wouldn't add anything to my risk. So if a recovery happens, then I get my money back. And if I was right in my first assumptions, then I make money. Otherwise, I just get out even and call it and be happy. I don't currently have a trade on this stock. I gave up on it at 18 months ago. So, and I was trading it from the upside potential. And let's see here. In all fairness, I also traded Nikola. So both, actually from the upside potential on both cases, got lucky with both. So what is driving the stock price in the near term? There are outside factors like the wave of the market, the sentiment, overall sentiment hurts it. Like today it's down 2%, but the sentiment in the market is like we're crashing. So these are fast movers, so 2% is not that big a deal. What's a big deal is to hold it, right? You don't want to make a lower low. And if you do, 8.25 is your next bogey. And you don't want to talk lower than 8.25 because then this then becomes a must hold. Why not hold the one we would like to hold, or the one we need to hold, or the one we absolutely cannot lose? You see the risk factor. The upside potential comes easy once they take a step above that. Then the machines start recognizing it. Now at 950, this candle might come into play. So I'm being very nitpicky about the levels because that's what happens with machines, except they take it to a lower level. So this is a 2-hour chart. So now we have a little bit more information. Now you see why 9.2 matters. Look left. Okay, so it's a place where they try to make a stand. Look, big red candles, like nope, and then whoosh, big red candle from it. Back to it, they fail. They fail. Get it up there, and then if I were trading it actively, I'd set an alert here. Why? I want to pay attention that they're overcoming a prior fail. In fact, this would be the place to actually jump in for me. So this is an active trader. Somebody more active, they would go into a 15-minute chart. And in my opinion, it's an overkill. I think a 2-hour chart is plenty to give us explanation as to why these levels matter. So that's the box I just drew on a 4-hour chart. This is probably granular enough for me. You can see the top, you can see the top, you can see the ledge and the support that they tried to hold. So it was a floor, and then they tried to hold it, debacle, they came back to it, failed, they came back to it, failed. That's fine, as long as I'm repeating myself in case you missed it the first time. As long as you hold the floor, so you can come back, however you get back to it, and then attack it one more time, and then once you get above it, test it for footing, and then go to the next line, which should be here. Repeat the same process. Fail a little bit, come back to it, overcome it, running out of room, and then get back to the... Then now you're building, not only you set a floor, like I said, for months, now you're building a higher low trend, and then suddenly the channel becomes ascending rather than descending for months. So that's how a recovery process should unfold. Panicking here, short term is wrong. Panicking here, short term is wrong. Panicking here, short term is wrong. Staying long below here is wrong. This would be my trading get out and re-engage lower because we don't know where it's going to go. And you're saying, oh, it's never going to 5. Really? What if the stock market crashes? You think this is the only stock that's going to hold up? No. Fortunately, good stocks, even on a good trend stocks, get pummeled through no fault of their own. So you have to think it doesn't trade in a vacuum is what I'm trying to say. So it has to go with the flow of the whole market. All right, that's it. Good luck with it. And I'm trying to be as friendly as possible with my choice of words because I'm pulling for it. We are a truck company in our household. My son builds them for fun and a career, actually, trophy trucks if he can make a go of it. And so all the new tech in this whole line of vehicles is exciting to me.